Done well, the referral out almost always increases trust with the client, even though it feels like it should do the opposite. The client came expecting to work on X, and you're redirecting them toward a different kind of support. What they actually experience is a coach honest enough to name something they needed and humble enough not to pretend they could provide it. That's rare. The referral out conversation done well almost always increases trust with the client, even though it feels like it should do the opposite. The client came to coaching expecting to work on X. You're now redirecting them toward a different kind of support. That sounds like a disappointment. And for most clients, it isn't, because what they experienced in that moment was a coach who was honest enough to name something they needed and humble enough not to pretend they could provide it. That's actually a rare thing. The Code Anchor and CC Anchor, ICF Code of Ethics, 2025, Standard 4.3, Section 4, Commitment to delivering consistent value. Remain alert to indications that there might be a shift in the value received from the coaching relationship and discuss this with the client. If appropriate, explore changes in the coaching relationship and/or the potential for a different coach, professional, or resource. CC1. Demonstrates ethical practice, sub-competency. 7. Refers clients to other support professionals as appropriate. The referral out conversation is the execution of Standard 4.3 and CC 1.7. It has a two-part structure. Both parts matter. Part 1. Name what you're observing, not diagnosing. The language distinction is critical. I've noticed you describing a persistent sense of dread in the mornings for several weeks, and difficulty tracking conversations that you usually engage easily. That's an observation. It opens a door. I think you're depressed. That's a diagnosis. The coach is not qualified to make it, and it closes a door. Observation invites the client to respond. Diagnosis invites defense. Name the behavior specifically in behavioral terms. Don't assign a label. Don't apologize for raising it. The observation is the honest professional move. Part 2. Name the specific next step. Given what I'm noticing, I want to suggest we bring in someone with a different kind of expertise alongside our work. I know someone who works with this specialty who I think would be a good fit. Would it be helpful if I made an introduction? The warm handoff matters. You should see a therapist leaves the client to search in a moment when searching is hard. I'd like to introduce you to someone who I've referred to before in this area, reduces friction and signals the coach isn't handing the problem off and disappearing. Have the names. The engagement beat in 8.3.1 was, identify your 3 referral partners before you need them. This is why. Does coaching continue? Frame this explicitly in the conversation. I don't want you to interpret this as me stepping away from our work. The answer varies by situation. For a mental health referral, typically continue coaching, coordinate, or work in parallel with the therapist. For a legal situation, often pause while the situation is active, resume after. For a medical situation, usually continue, sometimes with a modified focus. For substance use, defer to the treatment provider on whether coaching continues alongside treatment. These are contextual judgments, not categorical rules. The point is to name the decision explicitly, not to leave the client wondering whether the referral ends the coaching relationship. The mental health referral, fully scripted. Here's the conversation. I want to name something I've been noticing. Over the last 3 sessions, you've described waking up at 3 a.m. consistently, a sense of dread in the mornings, and today I noticed you were having difficulty tracking our conversation, which is unusual for you. I'm not diagnosing anything, but I want to be honest with you. What you're describing is outside the territory where I'm most useful. I think you'd benefit from speaking with someone who specializes in exactly this. I know a therapist who works with high-performing professionals managing persistent anxiety and sleep disruption. Would it be helpful if I made an introduction? Pause. The client thinks. I didn't know this was something I could even name. It is, and you can work on both simultaneously. We can coordinate or just work in parallel, whatever you prefer. I'm not going anywhere. That's the conversation. It takes 3 minutes. The client feels more seen than they did before it happened, not less. The legal pause, fully scripted. A client is in an active harassment situation at work. The coach has named the legal scope limit. The client says, but I still need to work on how to handle the people dynamics. Can we keep working on that? Here's my honest answer. The people dynamics are coaching territory, and normally I'd say yes. But right now, while there's active legal complexity, coaching on the people dynamics might inadvertently affect the legal picture. How you're describing interactions, what decisions you make about your responses. I'd like to put a pin in our work for the next 4 to 6 weeks while you get legal advice and decide how you want to proceed. Then we pick it back up. This is a pause, not an ending. The client may push back, hold the line. The pause is the protective move, for the client, not just for the coach. 2 common mistakes. First, making the referral sound apologetic. I'm sorry, I don't think I can really help you with this. The referral is not a failure. It's a professional judgment call. This is outside the scope where I can be most useful is accurate. I'm sorry I can't help is inaccurate and disempowering. Name it without apology. Second, giving a referral category without a warm handoff. You should probably see a therapist. Useless in a moment of vulnerability. Have the names. Make the introduction. This is a direct callback to Module 5.2.2, walking away cleanly as a professional move. Same structure. Mid-engagement doesn't change it. The trust dynamic is more nuanced, but the move is parallel. Your engagement beat for this video. Write 3 referral-out scripts, 1 for each of the 3 most likely scope limit scenarios in your niche. Use the 2-part structure, observation in behavioral terms, not diagnosis, followed by specific next step with warm handoff language. These scripts go into the scope of practice boundary card from 8.3.1. They are not improvisational. They are prepared. The operator who has the language ready is the one who executes the referral cleanly when the moment comes. The referral out protects the client. The last video in this module is about what protects the coach, not from complaints, but from the slow erosion of the craft itself. Supervision as infrastructure. That's next. One final reflection before closing this video. The referral out conversation is where Standard 4.3 meets CC1 sub-competency 7 in real time. Standard 4.3. Remain alert to indications that there might be a shift in the value received from the coaching relationship and discuss this with the client. If appropriate, explore changes in the coaching relationship and the potential for a different coach, professional, or resource. The coach who built their referral network before they needed it, as the engagement beat in 8.3.1 asked, is the coach who can make that introduction in the moment instead of scrambling for a name. The infrastructure precedes the execution. That's the operator move.